Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. I'm very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. If you're feeling charitable, please smash the subscribe button and the like button, and please follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And welcome to Monday's edition of the dceu Daily. On today's show, we will be discussing this fake nonsense about Snyder's Justice League actually being released as a series, as a 5-part series. Now, we're going to talk about that very, very shortly because I am very, very triggered by this and the immorality of the release of this false and fake information. We'll also be reading out some previous quotes from Zack Snyder as he was working on Man of Steel, as he made some very interesting predictions about Hollywood and in a certain way what was going to happen with him in Justice League as well. There's also, I found a quote from Ezra Miller about the vision for The Flash, and I don't know if it's an old quote or a new quote, but it's very, very interesting, so we will get a discussion out of that as well. And finally, we'll be wishing the Green Lantern Corps happy 80th birthday, because I love Green Lantern in any media, especially the comics and animation, and I even love Ryan Reynolds' live action movie as well. So we'll be discussing the Lantern Corps hitting the big 80. But first, as you remember, on Saturday, Humberto Gonzalez broke the news that in February, about February the 20th, Zack Snyder screened his Justice League for DC executives. This was proved to be right and correct, but this should have excited every single person from the movement, but it didn't. I heard grumblings because they don't like Humberto, because Humberto once said, move along, it's not happening. It's just a pipe dream. Obviously, Humberto, that pipe's grown really long now, right? So Humberto was wrong to dismiss it, yeah? But it's not a journalist's job to support our movement. It's a journalist like Humberto's job to report facts. And the truth was, there were no facts to report in the early days. So well done, Humberto, for being trustworthy enough to report this and to report that Supergirl wasn't happening and they're focusing on a Superman movie. Both breaking scoops are brilliant news for Superman fans and DC fans in general, right? We want a Superman movie, whatever that may be, and we want Zack Snyder's Justice League released either on VOD or HBO Max, preferably both, because we want the international audience to enjoy it too. But all of a sudden, people like John Aaron Garza and Davey Pienaar were doing videos, and of course our old friends, the Revenge of the Fans, are back, talking about if we would be happy with a serialized Snyder Cut. What this means is that instead of seeing a whole movie, it will be chopped up into 5 episodes. Now we had that, then all of a sudden we had Davey Pienaar, John Aaron Garza, Chris Wong Svensson. You know I've got a lot of respect for Chris. I love all these guys. I don't have any beef with them. But it's easy to talk about rumours and say and people have told you, and you're in with sources and stuff. I've said that as well, and I do know people who feed me stuff. Sometimes I trust it, sometimes I don't. But it's all very well doing that when people are giving you super chats. So basically, predictably, John Aaron Garza, is it Real Anarchy or whatever site he runs, right? So he did a video, and I think he did it with Davey Pienaar and Colbert from Screen Rant, right? He's a freelance journalist. He's done some great pieces on the Snyder Cut. Not necessarily part of the movement or someone who believes in it that much, but he's pretty much well versed in all the information. And again, he's someone else who claims he knows more than I believe he actually does. Anyway, so a discussion happened. Now, what they're putting forward is that Zack offered Warner Brothers the opportunity to have the Snyder Cut in serialized form. Now, we've all been shouting from the rooftops, haven't we, that Zack and other directors deserve freedom of creativity and, an artistic talent, right? So when Zack was making Justice League, do you think his creative freedom, his vision, was about making a 5-episode serialized version of Justice League? No, he was making a movie. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if Warner Brothers said, hey, we can make more of this. We can make it, maybe, what do you think, Zack? Maybe we should serialize it into 5 episodes. I don't know. I'm not even against this. If Zack Snyder's come out and told these people, yeah, guys, yeah, I did offer them the chance. So maybe he did offer the chance and they whacked that back, they rejected it, and it released as a film. I don't know. And as I say, if Zack Snyder's told them this and they have the evidence, they should put the evidence forward. But I don't do in smoke signals and innuendos. And I mean, Grace Randolph even did a video yesterday, actually a better video than what they did. And she was hinting largely that maybe an announcement may happen about the release of the Snyder Cut on HBO Max, by HBO Max, and this announcement will be made before the launch date of the 27th of May. That's when it's going to launch in North America and Canada, right? I would welcome that. These are the kind of things we should be excited about. But again, different personalities are trying to put themselves forward. Literally, as soon as Umberto broke this news, they were going on and on about 5-episode arcs and how Zack definitely did this. You are not presenting me with any evidence, right? It's like when I say, I've got a source, right? And you lot might put in the comments, you bloody liar. How do we know you're telling the truth? I get that. You don't. I know I'm telling the truth, right? But you don't. So I understand your skepticism, right? But, these people literally start talking about it a few hours or a day later after Umberto breaks solid news. Umberto Gonzalez is an entertainment journalist of the highest respect. He's someone who doesn't make up lies. Now, he may have not felt very nice when he was saying the Snyder Cut wasn't going to happen, but he said that because he had no evidence to back that up, right? He is a respectable journalist who works on evidence, right? Works on proof. And he's got proof now. It's screened and he knows it's going to happen. So he broke the story. None of the studio, HBO Max or DC, are not going to be angry. They told him to do this. They were happy for him to do this. That's fine. He's a journalist. Now, I know we've got issues with bloggers and critics and stuff, and quite rightly so. We've been burnt before, and I've spoken about this in terms of the Snyder Cut book, and we've got to be careful here. We don't want another Wall Street Journal kind of situation, do we? Hopefully, O'Connell is on the level. I want him to be on the level. I want to be proven on that he's a genuine Snyder and DC fan, and he wants to see this film as badly as us. And I hope his book is awesome, and it respects us, and it respects Zack. But until I read that book, I don't know. Let's not forget, Sean's going to be making a hell of a lot of money out of it. So it almost must be clear. Even if we look up to people, I look up to Chris Wong Svensson. I love Davey Pino. I think he's a really funny guy. I think John Aaron Garza is a very talented guy. He puts some awesome videos together. He's a great nerd. And if they want to make money out of these situations, that's capitalism. That's what it's all about. Good luck to them. Respect to them. But when you start talking about things, in fact, it's very difficult when you don't have the physical evidence to back that up. As I say, lads, go to Zack on Vero. Ask him this question. And if he likes it, you ask him this question, Zack, is the Snyder Cut going to be released on HBO Max as a 5-episode serialized drama? Ask him that. And if he likes it or says yes, I will say, sorry, lads, you were right. That's how it works. But if he doesn't reply to you or he says no, then I'm right and you're wrong. And it doesn't matter. It's not about winning and losing. I don't want a civil war with members of this kind of movement. We are family. We are in this together. We have achieved this together, led by Zack Snyder, and that's great, right? But I'm sorry, Chris Wong Svensson. I'm sorry, Davey Pino. I'm sorry, John Aaron Garza. You're talking about this like it's a fact, but you're not presenting me with any facts. And that's the problem here. And this is why I always say, and all the YouTubers say when they're presenting some gossip or some rumours or something from a source, take it from a pinch of salt, right? Sauce. I'm saying all the wrong words today because I'm so. But you know, when I'm a bit triggered, this is what I'm like, right? Because we're all passionate about this, right? Take it with a pinch of salt, right? I always say that. Now, I think it may be probable that maybe Zack did have this idea. It's just weird for me that a guy who's so, you know, he's so like, I want you to respect my creative integrity would then say, well, I did foresee this as a film, but now I want you to, you know, release it as a 5-chapter, you know, a 5-chapter event rather than a movie. That's just weird. But maybe Warner Brothers said to him, you know what, Zack, would you be willing to do that? What are the positives, right? Now we've spoken about how I feel about people talking about this, I'm going to tell you my opinion. There's an advantage to releasing this as a serialized drama because basically there's some of the Snyder Cut that's totally finished, music, effects, and there's some that still needs to happen. We still need, obviously, Swanwick. We still need that scene, that proper actor scene, right? We still need him to do that, right? He still needs to film that for Zack. There's obviously Bruce Wayne's sacrifice, Bruce Wayne's death. We need Ben Affleck back. So I don't know if Ben's willing to do that. He did hashtag release the Snyder Cut on November the 17th. So I'm sure anything to help get this done. You know, Ben and Gal's under contract anyway. And, well, Henry is another case in point. These are things that have to, I mean, I don't know if he's even agreed to it, what's going on, how forward are we down the line? Certainly, when you screen something for executives, it means it's, well, basically, why do I think the executives went to that screening, right? I think they went to the screening to decide whether they wanted this to happen, right? Why do you go to a screening? Why do you see something as an executive? It's because you're either going to give it a pass or a fail. So according to Umberto, it looks like they gave it a pass. Now, there's lots of rumours that a couple of WB executives didn't like it, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Listen, they know this is going to make money. It's going to happen. But they certainly went to that screening to see if they were willing for the public to see this. You know, in their mind, how bad is it? How good is it? You know, we've got confidence in Zack to say this is going to be awesome and certainly better than the Justice League version, right? So I definitely think that Warner liked what they saw. DC liked what they saw. They may have said to him, you may need to cut that out. You obviously need to shoot some stuff. There's, you know, VFX needing doing, you know, extra music and things like that. But certainly it sounds, if you speak to Umberto, it sounds like he's pretty confident this is at least going to happen. So, yeah, I am not against a 5-part chapterized version of the Snyder Cut, but let's be realistic. Let's live somewhere I call the real world. It is not going to happen. You know what this reminds me of? In the early days of us, you know, fighting for the Snyder Cut, when YouTubers would just come up with a load of crap, anything, and it was just fantasy. It literally was like watching the X-Files in the early days. You know, when they told us the X-Files was based on true events and it actually wasn't. It was that kind of, you know, tinfoil hat, and that's fine. That's fine, and that's fun, and that's exciting. But at the end of the day, we are beyond that now. We know it exists. Zack has confirmed so many things, right? So we're in a situation now where we can stop kind of working off rumours and say we're excited, it's going to happen, we just have to be patient, but also keep on fighting for Zack Snyder's Justice League. But as for people saying this is definitely going to be chapterized, I wouldn't accept anything like that, and I would ignore conversations like that until you've actually seen some evidence that that is exactly what's going to happen. It's so hot here, you know, I needed a little break, but I'm back now. You didn't even notice I was gone, did you? So here's some quotes from Zack Snyder as he was making Man of Steel, or certainly when he was given the green light to make Man of Steel. Very, very interesting. So, Chris and I tend to like the same movies, says Snyder. For me, a good movie has a pokey feel and its surface has sharp edges. It's hard to hold in your hand, but fascinating to look at. The Hollywood Committee, on the other hand, this is interesting, is always trying to get rid of those edges to make it softer, lighter, more palatable. Those movies are easier to sit through and accept, but once the lights come on, you've forgotten all about it. It winds up not moving you, and the experience doesn't stay. The best movies are the ones that cut you a little. When I got to the movies, I hoped to be moved. Otherwise, why bother? Yeah, brilliant by Zack. But you know, there's a really good analogy here and distinction. Hollywood don't care about good movies. I think they used to when we were growing up, or people my age were growing up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even the early noughties. There were some really good films out there, but now it's all about making that film, doing it, watching it, and then it's on to the next one. $1 billion, next film. $1 billion, next film. That's all they care about, and that's what Zack's pretty much saying here. But he's spot on, and he was predicting the future as well. You know, they're trying to get those edges. They want to get rid of those edges, don't they? And they want to smooth out those edges, and then you just don't get a memorable movie or a good movie, but that's not what they're interested in. So, where are we? Let's look at something else. So, we talk about the body count in the fictional city of Metropolis. 129,000 innocent bystanders as skyscrapers crumble to the ground, causing an estimated 2 billion cleanup. On this, Snyder remarks, I wanted the movie to have a mythological feeling. In ancient mythology, mass deaths are used to symbolize disasters. In other countries like Greece and Japan, myths were recounted through the generations, partly to answer the unanswerable questions about death and violence. In America, we don't have that legacy of ancient mythology. No, you don't really have a mythology in America. Superman, who first appeared in Action Comics in 1938, is probably the closest we get. It's a way of recounting the myth. Again, very, very interesting by Zack and why he wanted to see these deaths and why, some people just have to die, because it was a realistic look into Superman and his universe. And we can debate all day whether that's the right or wrong thing to do. I don't think it's either. The problem is, for the studio, it didn't make the billion it wanted to make, and that's the problem. And a different type of Superman movie would. So, Man of Steel is one of my favourite movies, and definitely, along with Superman the movie, two of the greatest Superman live-action interpretations ever. And I don't think there's a right or wrong, but if you're a Hollywood executive, you say, actually, Zack's one lost them some money, basically, because people don't want to see good movies anymore because they haven't been brought up on good movies, right? And that's really the distinct problem. So where are we? Right. Snyder is quick to point out the flaws of the American emphasis on individualism. American society encourages us too much to be individuals and tells us how special we are. When I was a kid, the way my mother talked, I thought we were all fated to be movie stars. Ours is a culture of celebrity. Everyone is handed a dream, but no one tells you there's got to be hard work somewhere underneath that dream. It's a dangerous thing to think you're so special and not have anything to back it up. Clark's particular problem is that he's so special he needs a mission of planetary proportions to justify his specialness. A very large part of Superman has stayed on Krypton, but he can't leave his adopted country because if he does, the whole world could be destroyed, says Snyder. So that's brilliant. This is what I mean. You can't say the guy doesn't get it, because he certainly does get it. He's just got a different idea of making these type of movies than others have. He really wants to have deep cuts in them. He wants to have a deep commentary in them. But Man of Steel is a great movie, and so is BVS. Right. On the original authors of the Superman comics, Joe Shuster was an immigrant. I thought it was fascinating how Superman, an infant from a distant planet, was placed in Kansas, which is the most iconographically central location in the US. Clark Kent represents additioning. He's a complete foreigner, literally an alien, but trying to come into his own in Kansas. And he holds a mirror up for ourselves in many ways. Clark Kent's dilemma is the American dilemma. Wherever we're from, we all have this very strong desire for acceptance. When he's young, most of Clark Kent's efforts are directed towards being like everyone else. So the fact that he's not like everyone and never will be is very difficult for him to accept. And he's adopted too, which could be hard for a kid. Again, brilliant. him and his kids used to watch Smallville, so he understands, and that's some of the commentary that Smallville had, that this guy can't have a normal life. And Clark in Smallville, played by Tom Welling, could never really accept it. So he's really spot on as well. He really understands Superman. It's all exciting to be part of that universe, and just there are certain words that are part of my internal... Oh no, what's this? What's this? Sorry. Oh, sorry, I'll read you that quote in a minute. Where are we? Right, yeah, that's from Zack Snyder. I've got some other quotes to read you here. Got a bit confused. So that's what Zack Snyder was saying while he was in the middle, and just with the aftermath of Man of Steel, he makes some really, really interesting points and actually predicted his future when talking about Hollywood. So basically, we have, they've interviewed, what's his name? Colin Farrell, that's it, who's going to play the Penguin in The Batman. And this is what he had to say. It's all exciting to be part of that universe, and just there are certain words that are part of my internal lexicon. Gotham City, Penguin, Joker, Batman, Bruce Wayne, Harvey Dent, all these things. Tim Burton's Batman was kind of my no. I watched the Adam West TV show growing up, actually as well. So Batman as a kid is very much, not in the comic book form, but the TV show I watched ardently when I was a child. And then in my teens, I saw Burton's version and loved it. And then obviously I was a huge fan of what Chris Nolan did with that world and how he brought it back to life and gave it an immediacy and contemporary significance. So just to be part of, again, that folklore, that mythology is, again, really cool. I had only started it, and I can't wait to get back. The creation of it, the aesthetic of the character has been fun, and I really am so excited to get back and explore it. And I haven't got that much to do, which is interesting. I have a certain amount in the film. I'm not all over it by any means, but there are a couple of some tasty scenes I have in it. And my creation, and I can't wait to get back. Yet I totally feel like it is something that I have not had the opportunity to explore before. It feels original, fun, but I am only at the start of the journey. So I can't wait to get back and really get into it. So Colin Farrell is a really talented actor. I still feel that Phone Booth is probably the best and the only credible film he's ever made in terms of an artist. I think Phone Booth is just an amazing idea, and I love that film. But I think this is very interesting, casting him. He's going to be more of a gangster. Of course, Farrell is well suited to be playing that kind of character. I thought he was brilliant in Fantastic Beasts as well. A very good actor. And he's going to be really the Oswald Cobblepot that I don't know if they're going to make him the big kind of penguin like Burton did. But certainly the gangster, the Oswald Cobblepot thing is very interesting. Now, he did say he's not all over this movie, so he plays a character. I'm predicting, obviously, Bruce Wayne is going to interview him. He's going to ask him some questions about the murder he's trying to solve. So I can't wait to see him. This is all becoming very exciting. I have got a lot of faith in Matt Reeves, and I think Robert Pattinson is the right fix, that maybe Robert just needs to keep it stum now and again, because there are fans out there within our movement who will do anything to use anything against him, because they think if they start speaking negatively, all of a sudden Ben Affleck's going to walk in and take over the role, and that is not going to happen. Now, let's look at this. Now, I don't know if this is a recent statement or an old statement, but this isn't a statement that I've never read to you before from Ezra Miller. Yes, sorry guys and girls, he's not cancelled. He's still the Flash and always will be. We are talking about making a universe, not only a DC multiverse, it's also the Speedster multiverse. The Speedsters are the ones that connect all the pieces, all these stories with different realities, different characters, and many versions of the characters. Ezra Miller talking about the Flash movie. So this is very, very interesting. Again, if it's a new statement, it makes it even more exciting. But this is what I don't understand about Warner Brothers. What Ezra is describing here is outlandish, outrageous, brilliant, epic, awesome. That's what I want to hear. That's the kind of Flash movie that I want, and I'm sure that you guys and girls want as well, right? A Flash movie that expands, this Flash universe, these, what do they call it? The speed, whatever they call it, the speed cycle. I forgot what they call it, right? But basically, there's a whole universe of speedsters. And because they can travel faster than the speed of light, they can create loopholes, right, and portals into other versions of the multiverse. And this is what they are planning in this film. This is very exciting. This is very brilliant. And I can't wait until they start shooting this film. So it's all very exciting stuff. And finally, actually, there's something else I want to talk about after this, but this is important. Happy birthday, Lantern Corps. Happy birthday to you. Happy 80th birthday to the Green Lantern Corps. Yes, I don't know if it was today or yesterday because American timings confuse me, and obviously that's where I found out that they're 80 years old. The concept of the lanterns is one of the most beautiful things in the world. We've had Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, is it Stuart? I forgot his first name, I always do this. Is it John Stewart, isn't it? So we've had loads of different lanterns, but there's a whole core of characters in this. This is DC's Star Wars. This is DC's Guardians of the Galaxy. But it's better than that. Better than that. This is not just about having a fun romp. There's such deep commentary in these graphic novels. 80 years old. You know, imagine 80 years ago coming up with such a modern, fun, interesting concept. You know, we got a lantern like Hal Jordan, who's an ordinary guy. He's a bit of a hothead. He's a bit of a maverick from Top Gun, isn't he? And all of a sudden, he gets this opportunity to be his planet's representative in Ohar. And it's great. But there's more to the Corps than that and the concept. Literally, right, the Lantern Corps are this cosmic outer space police force. It's a brilliant idea. That's why I like the movie, because at least that film tried. It tried to do something. Not all of it worked, but elements of it definitely worked for me. I just love reading the comics. I love seeing the animated series. I think the animated series is up there with a lot of great animated series. Really good. So if you're into Green Lantern, you could check that out. And without the movie, we wouldn't have seen that animated series either. So remember that. So, you know, it wasn't all negative. And I've spoken about the Green Lantern movie before as well. So happy birthday, Green Lantern Corps. You deserve every candle. Make sure you blow all of them out. And I can't wait for Jeff Johns' Green Lantern Corps streaming TV show on HBO Max. It's going to be awesome. And I can't wait to see that. But also, I can't wait to see the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, in the Snyder Cut of Justice League, because we know he's in it. Zack's confirmed it. The actors confirmed it. So, Green Lantern all the way as far as I'm concerned. Right. A lot of people asking me, when will the entertainment industry go back to work? When are they going to start shooting your favourite soaps like Emmerdale and Coronation Street and EastEnders, all your Arrowverse shows? Basically, I'm being asked, how can you shoot a movie and a TV drama with social distancing implementing? Right, there's not going to be any social distancing. The entertainment world will go back to work end of June, beginning of July. I've asked a lot of people about this, and this has been confirmed. Both Hollywood and the UK and Australia. Australia have already started shooting Neighbours, so that's good news as well. A lot of live shows will start again as well. That's a bit difficult, but they're going to have to social distance. But, you know, recordable movies, you know, things that are going to be shot, and we see them afterwards, like dramas, movies, things like that. There's no need for social distancing. And I'm going to explain to you what the entertainment industry are doing. So basically, whoever works, say, let's have The Flash TV series, right? Or Superman and Lois, really excited about that. So everyone who's been employed to make that show goes back. Every one of them will have a COVID-19 test. If you pass the test, you remain, you do your job, you will stay at accommodation, which is supplied by the CW, Warner Brothers, or whatever, right? You will stay in that accommodation. You will not mix with your family. You will not mix with your friends. You will just mix with the people you've been working with who have already been tested and have, you know, and had a pass for the COVID-19 virus. That means it cannot be spread if you're staying in that environment. So this is how they're going to do it. So Superman and Lois can still kiss. Lex and Superman can have a proper brawl, or whatever villains they're going to have in that show. So this is the way the entertainment industry will go back to work. I think it's genius. I think it's practical. I think it's logical. And I can't wait for everything to get back to start shooting so we can have our movies, our TV shows. Very exciting times. That's how it's going to work. So how do you feel about the stuff I've discussed today? Would you like to see a chapterized version of the Snyder Cut on HBO Max? Would you rather see the movie? I believe the chapterized thing isn't even true and isn't going to happen. But who knows in this crazy entertainment industry? Are you a Green Lantern fan? Tell me how you feel about the celebration. 80 years old. Wow. Are you a fan? Do you love? Who's your favourite Lantern? I want to know things like that. Comment down below. Like, share and subscribe. And also, what do you think about Ezra Miller's comments about The Flash? For me, it's epic, awesome, and very exciting. Like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.